Y'all ready? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would like to call to order the Dania Beach City Commission regular meeting. It is Tuesday, March 27th, and it is 7 o'clock. Call the roll, please.
Mayor James.
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Brandemart.
Here.
Commissioner Grace.
Here.
Commissioner Salvino.
Here.
City Manager Baldwin.
Here.
City Attorney Ansbro.
Here.
Thank you.
Can you please bow your heads for a moment of silence? Thank you. And can you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
All right. We are going to delay the award and wait for them to arrive here. I think they're running late, and we're going to go on to the proclamation. Welcome to Women's History Month. For those of you all that didn't realize it, all the women, give yourself a hand.
Yeah, hey.
Men, you should clap for us too. I'm just saying. Just saying. So I'm going to read this proclamation, and I'm going to dedicate it this year to Commissioner Brandemart.
All right.
For what did I do now?
Women History
Just
Month.
being a woman rocks. You don't agree?
Yes.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it back then. You don't want it.
No, she's taking.
It's Women's History Month. We're honoring you.
I thought it was Black History Month.
No, that was February.
I'm
It's
just going to
okay.
keep going.
This
I'm
is-
just going to keep
this
it
is
moving.
March. This
I
is
mean, Black
March.
History should be 365 days, but they gave us a month. It's February. Well, there's more. Okay. I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas American women have led movements for social and economic justice, made groundbreaking scientific discoveries, enriched our culture with stunning works of art and literature, and charted bold direction in foreign policy, and whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women in Dania Beach such as Tamara James, Chickie Brandemart, Bobby H. Grace, Irma Bell, Jean Cook, Dottie Pratt, and Helen Williams, just to name a few of the great women who've helped change and balance the voting rights of this great city. And whereas who share a more expansive vision of what a woman can do. And whereas stories of women's lives and the choices they made, encouraging girls and young women to think larger and bolder and give boys and men a fuller understanding of the female experience, knowing women's achievements, challenges, stereotypes, and uppins, social assumptions about who women are and what women can accomplish. And whereas this year's theme, nevertheless, she persisted, honoring women who fight all forms of discrimination against women, honors women who have helped shape America's history and its future through the tireless commitment to ending discrimination against women and girls. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Dania Beach City Commission, I, Tamara James, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim March 2018 as Women History Month and encourage all residents of Dania Beach to recognize and celebrate the many ways that women history.
That's pretty.
You want to speak? You want to speak? It was your proclamation. No? Okay.
I wrote that myself. I thought it was very appropriate for us to understand the significance of those women that have played a major role in especially government and community. And it was an honor to add this year Dottie Pratt, who is 96 years old, resident of the city of Dania Beach, for her accomplishments that she has done. She's one of the chartered members of several of our clubs, and we wanted to make sure that we included her in this event, along with my fellow lady constituents that are on the dais with me. And I am indeed proud that we honor and we select this year for our honoree for Women History, Chickie Brandemart.
Thank you.
See?
One proclamation, it's called February 22nd, was done by one commission. It's called Chickie Brandemart Day in the city of Dania Beach, and this one goes right along with it, and I love it. She makes me laugh. I don't know. There's something about this girl. When she mentions my name,
Sometimes.
I think we're going to have an argument or something.
That's why I said sometimes.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Mayor.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. And walking in right on time, we are going to have an award to Red Line Media Group for helping to rebrand the city of Dania Beach. I want to introduce to some, to a lot that have not met the president of Red Line Media Marketing, which is S.R. Tommy, along with SEMA. I want to introduce them to you all. They have done an amazing job for the city. They have tirelessly been bombarded with emails and phone calls, and they have done everything we've asked them to do, and they have rebranded the city, and it has cost. They are a Dania Beach business here. Their space is amazing. They are very creative minds, and I cannot thank them enough for helping us be forward thinkers and to progress us into a fresh new look, which is right here for those of you who haven't seen our new city seal. You'll see a lot more rebranding initiatives coming your way very soon. But on behalf of the commission, and I'm sure everyone else probably will want to say something, I truly thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because this is what selfless community service is all about. And so we thank you for allowing us to use your space, your staff, and your creative minds to help us create a brand that we can be proud of. So I have an award here that says, this is presented to Red Line Media Group in recognition of outstanding public service provided to the city of Dania Beach in their rebranding initiative, and it has Alvino Sr. So are we going to come down? We're going to come down for a picture. Do we have someone take a picture of us?
Who has a camera out there?
Really?
Okay, and you send it to us so I can get it to Jessica at the Dania Press.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, for crying out loud. She's right. Where's Jessica?
Bye, Pat. You want? I'm going to put it back into wrapping.
Thank you, my love.
She has to. She's only 4 feet.
We'd certainly like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all those that have been involved in this amazing project. Our company lives and thrives and was a no-brainer for us. And while you see the 3 of us that are here today, there is certainly a team of people who has worked tirelessly and exciting actions and energy that has come about with the rebrand. We are very thankful for the opportunity, and as I stated, there are so many others that are not here present tonight that has touched this project, but I'd like to give the opportunity to the rest of the team to say a few words, because they are all involved from different levels, and it simply took exactly that team effort to make it come together. Absolutely. You all working with us and us with you truly resonates as a family that we are here in Dania Beach, and we're just delighted and humbled by the opportunity. This is Sima Georgievich, the CEO of Red Line Media Group.
Thank you. Familiar faces. I want to say that we're humbled and grateful to be acknowledged, the focus groups to help drive and guide the direction of the creative. And thank you to each and every one of you for your vision and wanting to modernize the city to make it better place for growth and prosperity to impact the community in a positive way. So thank you for your vision and for trusting us in developing that vision and making it a reality. We're very excited to see it come to fruition. So thank you again.
Welcome.
He's like, I'm good.
Thank you.
I get it, I get it.
And we must say that this was indeed a surprise, so we're grateful. Thank you again.
Thank you. So we go to citizens' comments. Mrs. Patricia Chuckerman. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Beach and Amy Donnelly, 354 South. So we are here on behalf of the Green Advisory Board for the City of Dania Beach, of which I am the chair, Mimi co-chair. We are very concerned with the fact that there are no recycle bins really anywhere in the city. With the advent of Dania Point, we would hope that our city will be recognized as a green LEED certified city. So we are asking for recycle bins at all the parks, at all the events that the city puts on, and at the beach. We have found that the garbage is all commingled. We understand that there is a contract with the waste management, but we really think that we need to be able to have more of these recycle bins so that our residents' bottles and all of that stuff, and going forward, we would like to be seen as a forward green city. So we appreciate any help that you can give us with that. Thank you very much.
Hold on 1 second. Commissioner Salvino.
Yes, I agree with you guys. Is my speaker on? Can you hear me? I agree with you, and along with that, I've also arranged a meeting, the city manager, of recycling clothing as well, and they're going to have a meeting on that next week, putting the recycle bins in the city for clothing to be recycled, where we generate revenue from that besides. But the garbage cans throughout the parks and so on, I believe, is something that waste management should be able to provide us, I would say almost at no charge.
And I was very happy to see that there are recycle bins now here in City Hall. So I would be happy to come along to that meeting if you would
That's
like
up
my
to them
input.
first, but then when it gets progressively, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Commissioner Grace.
I'm delighted that you've asked us to do this, and you can remember we're doing it at Winn-Dixie Shopping Plaza, and the homeless people and other people will come and dig through it at night, and then we wake up the next morning going to the Publix or to the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center, and all of that stuff was just all over the ground. So I want us to be cautious when we ask about recycling clothing. I think we can do that through Habitat for Humanity, the Salvation Army, and some of the other entities without putting it in our major thoroughways. So I just want us to be cautious with that one.
Commissioner Brandon
I'm really happy that you brought it up, Pat, because just the other day I was eating out at Longhorns, and the girl behind the counter had said that the straws were killing turtles. That seems to be a big concern. That was hers down Dania Beach. I said, the straws? She says, yes. They don't know the difference, and the straws are killing the turtles. And as far as the clothing, long fence the size of this wall, and then the people on the west side or east side, whoever it is that need clothes, they come there during this event and they just get the clothes, and it's free of charge from the churches, and they appreciate it. But the other, I'm behind you 100%.
Thank
We
you.
should have done it a long time ago.
Thank you.
I want to add to that maybe over the past year I've been speaking to a couple of members on the CAC, and maybe I should have been speaking to you all instead about initiatives such as this. While playing basketball in Europe, especially in Israel, you can see these cages, and they only had a size big enough for like a 2-liter bottle to be able to fit in or something like that. And so that it was transparent, it wasn't enclosed so that you didn't have any contamination, that didn't have any air or anything like this. And it actually had kind of like a little bit, it was artistic looking. And it was so cool to drive by and sometimes see it filled to the top with bottles. You all are are coming up and requesting this again. I would love to sit down with you all and tell you my ideas of these types of recyclable containers, and something that just doesn't look like a garbage can, but something that actually looks like it involves community input, it involves the community effort, and it would be cool to see that initiative would probably be one of the first cities to do something of this nature. And so I will be honored to sit down with you all and share with you my ideas on it.
So we are the Green Advisory Board.
No, I know, but I don't know how we got on the conversation of it, but we did, and sorry.
No, that's okay. So you're welcome anytime. So while I have the microphone, I'd like to wish all of you a happy Easter, happy Passover to those who celebrate, and a joyous season for all of us to come.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Happy
much.
Easter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Public safety reports. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I have one more. Craig Valentine. How can I forget about my buddy? Who got in the ring this time?
He's too chicken.
Can't hear me.
Well, could you please
So, but
state your name and
Craig
address for the
Valentine, 1982, Tiger Tail Boulevard, Dania Beach, Florida. One of the owners of Gang Girls Wrestling Asylum. Actually, I stopped by the commission today to thank Commissioner Salvino for being our guest timekeeper for graduating our first round of students from Gang Girls Wrestling Asylum. So thank you very much.
Good time,
And
Craig.
I see everybody saw the pictures, so everybody knows you had a blast. You saw about 42 of 391 that are on our Facebook page.
Okay, awesome.
So New Times was there taking pictures. They're doing a 5-page story on us in the city of Dania Beach. Lynn Martinez and Chris Van Vliet were in the ring last week, since I heard you were in the ring, Commissioner Grace.
Jealousy.
We will be on Deco Drive April 3rd. April 3rd is actually next Tuesday, 7:30.
So I have a question.
You saw one of our luchadors. He wore a onesie, lipstick, and a few other things.
So is that what the commissioners are wearing when they go there?
I don't know. Actually, the next event is April 29th. Commissioner Salvino offered up to be the guest timekeeper. We named our men's champion, but we are going to be going ahead and seeing who's going to win the ladies' championship. So there's commissioners, mayor, and
Y'all
a
want
vice
to wear
mayor.
onesies?
No.
Nobody been hitting the gym but me, huh?
Nah.
Everybody has until April 29th to see who's going to go ahead and give away the ladies' championship.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
Thank you. No onesie, Commissioner Brandon Marty? Come on, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Since the last commission meeting, we've seen an increase in vehicle burglaries along Griffin Road. Most have been purses left in open vehicles at Shop Countywide and statewide. The criminals are going after the mirrors, the tailgates, even the grills if they can't steal the truck altogether. So we're encouraging truck owners to buy aftermarket locks for their tailgates, and there's even GPSs installed in some of the newer tailgates that you can get installed from the factory. So we're making it known, all the construction companies, landscaping companies, a lot of transient workers at the hotels drive these trucks, and we're seeing a lot of these thefts at the hotels and even in some of the residential neighborhoods now. So our crime prevention unit's going out and making contact with possible truck owners or businesses that have lots of trucks frequent their business and making it known to them. Last week, right before our Get to Know BSO event, a suspect battered his pregnant girlfriend and barricaded himself in his apartment. After a short while, we were able to get to, and while he was up in the attic, he moved around to other units, above other units. He was able to climb out of a window at the end of the building and fled west. One of our deputies gave chase, and we located the suspect in the back of some nearby warehouse, and he was taken into custody without incident. He's in jail right now, charged with aggravated domestic battery, resisting arrest. We also found out that he was on probation for a bunch of crimes he committed in the city, a bunch of burglaries. So he's being held additionally for 3 counts of grand theft motor vehicle, threats to specified individuals, 2 counts of burglary, and 2 counts of grand theft. So he'll be in there for a while. We had a Get to Know BSO event last week. We had a good turnout, really good food. I just wanted to thank everybody for organizing that and for everybody coming out. We're going to keep going. It was really nice to interact and speak with the people that showed up. I want to remind everybody the Shred-a-thon and Operation Medicine Cabinet will be this Saturday at the Bass Pro Shops, March 31st, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So bring all your old medicine, pills, prescriptions, papers, bills, taxes, whatever you have, we'll
Bills.
take care of.
If I shred them, do I have to pay them?
That's up to you. That completes my report.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
I just wanted to mention on the flyer for the shredding that anyone can bring up to 5 boxes. Is that right? 5 boxes of shreddable material?
Yes.
Okay.
But if the person behind you has 3 and you have 7, just give them 2.
No.
We'll make it work.
Creative thinking. I have a question. How many vacancies do you have in your police department?
Right now, we have 8.
Now, let me ask you, when does the class graduate?
There's several. There's one that just graduated last week, I believe it was, or early this week, and we're expected to get 1 to 2. We don't really know yet, but across the county, personnel's just down right now. So we're hiring as fast as we can. But we've got to make sure they're quality individuals.
Oh, and one last thing. I've reeled by the place that I text you about.
Yeah.
That I'm receiving a lot of phone calls from residents, and the last 2 days have been great. But I want it to be consistent because you have people that actually own their homes, and it's individuals that don't own their homes, and they are selling drugs, loitering, causing havoc, bullying the neighbors, and they're number one, scared, and number two, they don't feel comfortable enough to even come outside and enjoy it because of the environment. And so
Just sometimes when there's people in a front yard and they're invited there, it puts us in a tough situation. By all means, if they're on the sidewalk or there's an illegally parked vehicle, we're going to enforce any laws we can. But we do need, when our deputies are driving around, they haven't been instructed to take care of any loitering, any ordinance violations, any criminal activity right then and there.
absolutely. Okay.
We held roll call right in front of that residence today, and there was nobody out there.
Yeah,
it's a
been-
known problem
Yeah.
address.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's it. Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, Commissioner Grace, did you have a question for Chief?
I'll
I'm
talk
sorry.
to him later because we
Okay.
talked about the eye in the sky. You're going to be working on that, right? Yes, as soon as spring breaks over. Thank you.
Good evening. Eric Busenberg, Division Chief, Broward Sheriff's Office. Just wanted to mention 2 things. So they are able to go in with any tactical group in the event that they would need to. The second is we've just teamed up with the University of Miami. They're going to be.
Sorry, that was my chance. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. But they're gonna be doing the training for the advanced life support. So we're excited about the program. I think it brings an extra level to it. Obviously, University of Miami has an excellent reputation on their medical. So I think we can filter in some, very progressive thoughts and practices out there with the direction of our medical director. And other than that, that's it. Unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next to the consent agenda, do we have any polls?
7.5.
7.5. Let me see which one 7.5 is. Okay.
5, 6, and 9.
Oh, I have a and 7.3.
7.3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With the exception of 7.3, 7.5, 7.6, 7.9,
I want to talk about 7.
7.7, and
Oh,
7.7.
wow.
Oh,
7.7.
just do the whole agenda
I
then.
was just gonna
Okay?
say that.
That's it. All right.
It is 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9.
Yes. That's my motion.
Oh.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
7.3, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, authorizing the expenditure of funds from the Parks and Recreation Department for miscellaneous park repair services purchased from Silmac International for fiscal year 2017-2018, ending September 30th, 2018, inclusive of existing purchases that may exceed an annual vendor total amount of $25,000. Authorizes continued from the March 13th, 2018 Commission meeting.
I pulled this just because I was confused about why it was continued and what did we do between 2 weeks ago and now.
Mayor, you asked it to
That
come
was a
back
different
at this meeting.
Yeah.
The commission asked it to come. It was reviewed by, you asked it to be reviewed by the athletic director.
Right. This is the one. Vice Mayor was discussing this. I just want to
Yes.
know what was different than from 2 weeks ago. Like, did we change anything? Is it the exact
No.
same?
It's the exact same thing, but I was waiting to see if the athletic director had
And he reviewed it with the Parks and Recreation director, and
And it's
the
fine.
recommendation stays the same.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
As long as we're on this subject, I need to ask a question to the city manager. Have we, or I should say, have you gotten us an answer as to who's going to be taking Mark Felicity?
It's
That's
in
what
the
I asked
it's
for.
in my report, but what I told you, I guess last week, we're doing open competitive.
Not
for the-
acceptable. What we said and what this commission said is that if there is a person within this city that has been in a position like that, that can be elevated, no matter who it is, then we should hire from within.
Well-
Instead of spending this extra money going out and doing all of these RFPs and all of this other stuff, we can make an executive decision from within. The body, I believe, that we have here is capable of backing you 100% with what, and if we're not, we'll let you know. I don't think they're afraid to tell you anything up here.
Well, Commissioner, the intent was to interview the internal candidates and we would go through a selection committee for any outside candidates.
No,
And then we would pick from that.
I'm not on the same page. Candidates that are part of the city right now, pick a selection from, I don't care who it is, but why would you open it up for outside when I just said that I thought that we were going to be doing selections as we're doing for the city clerk's job, human resources, Nikki's position when she leaves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the way I would like to see us climb that ladder.
Can I say something? I understand that budgets are coming up, and this is a budget is an item that's on our agenda, and even for anyone in Parks and Recreation, even if it's a coordinator, they have to do budgets for their parks. You have a new athletic director. Say hi, Anthony. He's our new athletic director. Welcome to the city of Dayton. I really feel that if we were going to go external, we should have went external 2 months ago. I know that Mark is leaving next week. I have full confidence that one of our employees is able to do the job. I know that as a city, as an employee of a city, you work for a city because you want an opportunity to be promoted. You want to grow with the city. You want a government job because these are supposed to be some of the best jobs you have. Something to be proud of, something that, your bosses can vouch for you, and something that you are excited to come to work every day. But if there is not going to be consistency in how we go about the process of hiring individuals when a vacancy is open in the same type of department, I would rather us just be consistent all the way through. And I know that we have a lot of changes right now. I wrote down some of those changes. We're going to be in a few months getting a new city manager. We just got new HR. We're going to be getting a new Parks and Recreation director. We have I'm not even sure when do you leave?
Next year?
Okay, and so I know that city budgets are coming, and we need someone that is going to come in that already knows what's going on financially with our parks or what the need is, and not someone new that we're going to have to train all over again. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Commissioner Brandon Marty, is your light on?
Yeah, it's all well and good to say to promote from within, but that's not how you really run a city. When you're running a city, if you don't think, and that's what I'm listening, what I'm hearing here is that they're not qualified, so it goes out for a bid. There's no big deal to that. I don't know anybody that's qualified for her job. I don't know anybody even wants it. Her job is a tough job. I'm not going to say, oh, you better wait and promote from within. I don't believe that you have to just push it, even to help the new man that hi, Anthony, I don't even know you. Hi. good-looking
No,
guy.
I'm not, we're not, I don't.
No, I think putting it out for bid, didn't Mark Felicity say anything at all about anybody to the city manager?
Well, it's not his decision. He won't be here.
Whose decision is it?
It's the managers.
It's
City
yours.
managers, right? And I didn't say that any of the internal candidates aren't qualified.
I was
I
just
didn't-
going to
Well, then
clarify
what-
that because
then-
I know they
But
are.
they would
You have
participate.
both of them are
They
very
would also
qualified.
be interviewed. And I was going to interview two of them this week to make them, one of them the acting Parks and Recreation Director until a new director is hired.
Acting.
No,
Yeah,
come
no,
on.
I have an issue with that.
You can't just,
You have to have somebody in charge.
yeah, but, so that's like saying that the ones that are acting are not what you really consider qualified, isn't it?
No, it's just at the time it's hired, it could be one of those people.
We're not doing that with every position. I don't want to do it with one position. And I don't mind the decisions that are being made with the other positions just to promote within because I feel like they're qualified as well. But from the two candidates or the few candidates that I know internally that they're more than capable of doing this job and more than capable of representing the city well. I mean, if they're good enough to be an acting director, I think they're good enough to be our director. What you're doing is you're going to put somebody as an acting director, and then their spot at their park is going to be opened up. And who's going to do that position? Who's going to do their work? And then if not, if you're going to hire someone else to do their work, what's going to happen if you choose someone else? I believe if you believe we have qualified individuals internally, I just feel like there needs to be a decision made. If not, if the decision was going to be to go external, it shouldn't have been a week before.
Getting involved in this,
Yes.
then we're forbidden from doing it, so why don't we just let the guy do his job? The charter forbids us to get involved in the picking of anybody in those positions. You want to throw the charter out like people want to throw out the Constitution? It don't work that way. And you can ask the city residents that, and they'll tell you the same thing. I'm going to go along with the fact that if this is what his decision is, and he has the right to do it, and he says, I'm going to appoint Mr. Shapiro, or whoever it is, as the acting manager, and he's still going to interview those guys, then he should be able to do his job without a lot of interference from outside people like that I see the city's been getting. It just doesn't going to work that way. The city, the charter forbids us, and Bobby, we're here long enough to know it.
Commissioner Grace?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you about what's going on in the city, and I will always do that, no matter whether you like it or you don't like it. I think that when Kristen Jones left this city, I was not on this commission, but I lobbied very hard and very heavy for Mark Felicity to get that job because I believe that he could handle that job, and he was the person that worked very closely with her when she left here. So it was an easy transition for the city of Dania Beach. Plus, we got somebody that was very knowledgeable and knew what was going on in this city and handled that job to the best of his ability. That is all I'm asking for the next generation to come around, that they have worked with Mark Felicity, that have been his left hand and his right hand, his right foot, his left foot, and made sure that that program at Parks and Recreation worked. And I think that that is only fair for us to say out of the box, then do that. But I'm not going to let you say that these, and the city manager did not say that they were not qualified. So I feel as though if they're qualified to be acting director, they're certainly qualified to be the
That I agree with you
director.
on.
Okay, and that is my take on it, and I'm not going to stand down for anybody.
Okay. Any other discussion? Imagine no.
I need a motion
What was the motion?
for the resolution that we were talking about, 7.3.
Make a motion.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
7.5, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, providing for appropriation of funds for the rebranding initiative from the general fund unrestricted reserves in an amount not to exceed $500,000, and authorizing the city manager to take on this.
Oh, could you press your lights again if you had your lights pressed? Oh, all the lights, okay. Commissioner Brandon Marty. Oh, wait, I only have one light press. It's number 4. It's Vice Mayor. Anyone else? I got you, Commissioner Brandon Marty. Go ahead.
Okay. 7.5 allows us to be able to use $500,000 on rebranding, up to $500,000. At this time, I just want to make comments on this as before our budget and without rebranding going out for bid to place up to $500,000 as a price tag to put this logo all over the city. I just think that since we didn't go out to bids yet, it's premature just putting such a $500,000 price tag on it. That's a lot of money. Should really be discussed during budget. Okay. I don't know. I just really am making a comment. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying that $500,000. And I base this on the fact that I'm even hearing from people they don't even like it. I love it. Willie don't like the color of the wall now because he likes the branding up there. He said we should paint the wall, and he's really right. But I just want to comment on that. I just think that to give us the right to spend up to $500,000 is ridiculous on branding.
Okay. I'll wait for everyone. Vice Mayor.
We talked about this, or we've actually been talking about this for about a year. And anyone who knows about branding and advertising and media, I think, after numerous conversations in workshops, that it's just the not to exceed amount. It doesn't mean it's going to not cost that much money. It's just like almost like a hypothetical is here, and she's leading the program. And we've gotten a lot of outside help from SR, Tommy, and the staff at Redline Media, and they're top-notch advertising executives and represent accounts all over the country. And anyone else who is here and runs businesses like Mr. Salzman and Mr. Shapiro, they know what a top-notch advertising firm costs and what the costs are these days for media and print and events and all those things connected with making our city a first-class city. Like I said again, it's just a not-to-exceed amount. It's not a definite written-in-the-stone amount. So if we all need or anyone else needs any more clarification of that right now, I think Raquel would like to. Would you?
Let's wait till you want to wait till our comments. We might not.
Okay, that's fine. Sure.
Okay. Commissioner Salvino.
Thank you, Mayor. $500,000 is a lot of money, and I just, without no issues that the money's being spent on, is being spent on some signs and at the airport entrance and at the Sheridan Street and so on through the city. And we do have some funds that came from, the Broward County for the signs and so on. I know that, I understand that we spent $75,000 of that money trying to get whatever it was to see what the sign looked like. I'm not opposed to the spending the money. I think what I'm a little bit opposed to is that you're asking for $500,000 and we don't have any kind of a sheet to what shows us what the money's going for. I mean, if you could sit there and tell me 50,000 is going for this, 100,000 is going for this, and so on down the line, where we understand where that money is going to, it's a lot easier to authorize $500,000 of taxpayers' money to branding without just saying, okay, go ahead and use it. I realize we're going to have an expense, and I know the expense is going to be up there, but I was hoping that maybe we could, whether she can resolve it tonight and explain to us and make me comfortable, we have more of an explanation. That's my comment on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Grace?
I'm not for tabling it. We had at least 7 meetings that I knew of with the rebranding. We knew that it was going to cost us something. We know that it's not going to cost us that amount of money, but we had to put something in line to make sure that in case we had to put a figure in, that was the figure that we put in there. I think that, as my colleague indicated, the signage at the airport and some of the major entrance was going to cost a little bit more. We were talking about the flags that we were going to put it up in several locations. I'm comfortable with what we put together, and I know that she is CRA director, is not going to spend money without coming back to. I'm in favor of us leaving it the way it is.
I just, for clarification, I just want to go over a few things. I know we're speaking about the budget. I just want to let the public know that these $500,000 will not be coming from our budget. It will be coming from our reserves, which right now probably sits at 25% of our entire budget. And we have $14 million in our unrestricted reserves, which means we have more money in our restricted reserves. And $500,000, I don't think it will cost $500,000. I think that is a not to exceed amount. And I also think that I don't want to continue to put, okay, we can, if you guys want to ask her questions, you can ask her questions, but I've asked her these questions and go out and bid for every single thing to tell you what these items would cost. It will take a lot of time and a lot of effort. We threw this rebranding on her. This has been going on before she was hired as our CRA director. We actually had a workshop in which we kind of voted 4-1 on this amount. Now, I'm not sure if we are backpedaling. I don't want to be unstable and make the people that work for us think that we are thinking one way in a workshop and then get to a commission meeting and thinking another way. The only person that's been against this from day one has been Commissioner Brenda Marty. And, you know, her stance is her stance, and I respect anyone's stance. I do not want to cut corners on a brand, on someone who is a nationally known company that did us this, that our executive CRA director, Raquel Williams, is more than qualified, and she has been very transparent in everything that she has done, and she has saved us money in a lot of places already. She knows how frugal we are as a commission on certain things, and so I do believe that she understands exactly what we're saying. I don't want to backpedal on what I said. I will not backpedal on what I said, on what I voted for at that workshop, and so how I feel is it should stay exactly how it is. I do not understand why there are more than one memo. I do not understand a lot of things when it comes to the rebranding that is already here, but that's for another time. I'm going to let you all speak and see if we have a motion.
I don't think that it is necessary for the CRA director to come before us at this time. I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get the last two. Commissioner Salvino?
Thank you. I got a problem with is that we're taking it out of the reserves and not budgeted money. And I understand that we have all that money there. I mentioned a long time ago about doing a lot of things and taking initiatives to do better things in the city and improve certain things. And as soon as I mentioned the reserves, I got shot down. And now it's okay to take $500,000 out on a project that is branding where some of the things, and like I say, I don't have a problem with it, but I just understand, you know, and then on top of that, we're talking about it was supposed to go out for bid. That's part of the agreement that we had in the workshops. And if you just said it's a lot of work, it's a lot of things they got to do, a lot of things they got to put together. Well, they're going to have to put those things together to get the bids that have some of the bids out. So I mean, I understand, and I know everybody's excited about doing the branding, and I don't want to be the person to slow it down. I just think $500,000, $500,000 is just a lot of money. But whatever the commission decides.
Let me ask a question. Nikki, what is the average that a city has in their reserves? Like that is acceptable for a city, that you want as a city to have in your reserves?
The recommended practice for general fund reserve is to have at least 25% or 1/4 of your operation.
Okay, that's on like the upscale, because I've read like, from 15 to 25%.
Yeah,
but we're at like 25%.
We're more than 25%. The commission back in early 2000 set a goal to try to maintain a 25% reserve, which we have reached at this point in time. We do have right now our reserves are around 22 million.
Okay.
But of that, if we segregate out the 25%, plus all the rollover encumbrances from last year, you're sitting at about 3 million.
Okay.
In reserve. Some of that stuff, however, is kind of already projected to be allocated. We have a bridge loan, which we're going to have to be doing here shortly for $1 million to the CRA for a grant, which evidently they're acquiring.
Yeah.
So that already brings it down to $2 million. If you do this branding, we also know that there's a property that's potentially coming up for purchase, and we still have to continue to fund another $1 million towards our pension obligation. So if we do all of that and a bridge loan also for the southwest or southeast stormwater drainage project, you really don't have as much available reserves.
So how much unrestricted reserves we have?
By the legal standpoint, your unrestricted reserves are 22 million, but that's not the commission's direction. The commission direction was to maintain the 25%.
Correct.
Segregate that out.
And we have that,
And
correct?
you have that, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
I also wanted to mention that, that is a lot, just like, 2 weeks ago when you were interviewed by a national REIT publication that interviewed the city of Dania Beach about, they interviewed the mayor, they interviewed Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Salzman, and they did drone flyovers, and all that is part of our branding, which is coming into be. And then also, like with the League of Cities, they just put out a new publication, and we're featured in it. I don't know if anyone's seen this yet, but, I mean, those kind of things are included in the branding that we don't have to pay for, so it's becoming our brand awareness, which is what we want to get to. So it's a big project. It's never been done here before, and I think now is the time to proceed with whatever the amount is going to be, and that's it.
One more comment.
I just got
Go
a
ahead.
real small question. I've been questioning the money that's in the permitting department, and that money is designated to do improvements in the buildings.
Building permit fee uses. So it's not for, it could be to expand the, work on the building department, things
But
like
when
that.
you work on the building department, you put new signage on that, isn't that part of the building department?
Signage would certainly fall within that.
Well, there you go. So why can't we allocate some of the money from the building permitting department for this, and then that would help us a little bit, take a little bit less?
It says it must solely be used for the listed things. And in the statute, I just started to write a memo to you today about it, so I could make sure you had the exact things. But that's not one of the listed uses, I can assure you. There's 6 listed uses. They're called it's called for enforcing the building code, and that would not come within enforcing the building code.
What are we going to use all that money for then?
That's, that is a really good question. You have a lot of, I think there's a lot of income from there.
Yeah, no, just I understand what you're saying, and that's what we've been doing. Like the CRA director has been working with Nikki to find this didn't come out of our reserves. They found monies to do that. So if she can find monies, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to we might only spend $200,000. We don't know, but I don't want to put a cap and put restrictions and have that kind of pressure on her. That's all I'm saying. So go ahead. This is about this one, Commissioner? This is about this still?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I would have been more comfortable if it said up to 250, but not 500, not a $500,000. That's a lot of money. And if someone thinks that's what we got, well, then they're going to bring the cost pretty close to that. It's like somebody else when you walk in a car dealer. I have $50,000 to spend. He's going to say the car was $49,900.
And they're going to walk out without a car.
Well, I know one thing. We did not pick a branding company, and it's still going to go out to bid no matter what.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate what Redline did for free, but it would be awful nice to get it, too. You get what I'm saying? I just would not, I don't feel right.
As the city commission and as the board of directors for the CRA, nothing can be done without bringing it back to us, and sometimes it's got to be brought back to us, not once but twice, as elected officials and as CRA board members before any expenditures are done. So that's an easy fix. I made a motion to approve this item.
Do we have a second?
Please.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
No.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
7.6, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, establishing and appointing members to an annual audit committee for the purposes of assisting the City Commission in selecting a qualified auditor to conduct the annual financial audit pursuant to Florida statutes, Section 218.391, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date.
Vice Mayor?
I pulled this BT contract for another couple years, even though they've already come to term, but we as the city commission, and according to state statute, I think, would be able to do that, unless I read it incorrectly. It's Section 8 of the state statute.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Yeah, I did some research on this because I knew why you had a question about it. And the statute really says, it is a little confusing the way it's written, from an amendment that was made about 5 years ago to the state law. But after researching it and looking at what the state auditor general says, what it means, and the public accounting people, it says once the contract period, in our case, including renewals, has expired, any further required annual audit services must be subjected to the auditor selection law as required by the statute that's at work here. So it seems like an ambiguity in the law, but it's been already construed by the people who had, in 4 or 5 days, their contract.
Okay.
They've had the work.
Once it expires?
Once it expires,
okay,
theirs is over. They've had it for 5 years. Once the contract period, including renewals, and they've had 2 one-year renewals, they had a 3-year base term. Once it expires, any further required annual audit services must be subjected to the auditor selection process. So when this expires in a couple days, it's got to go back out. That's why it's on the.
It has to go.
It has to go.
It has to, or we cannot make a recommendation from this board.
You cannot violate this law.
I'm confused now because I read the backup on this, and it reads, Florida statutes requires specific procedures to be followed by local governments with respect to selecting an auditor to conduct the annual financial audit required by Section 218.39, which says each local government entity, school board district, charter school, or charter technical center, 7, except providing in Section 8. Section 8 says written contracts entered into pursuant to subsection 7 may be renewed. Such renewals may be done without the use of the auditor selection procedures provided in this section. Renewal of a contract shall be in writing.
And what that means, in the research I've conducted, is that when we had, and we do have, a base term of 3 years, you had 2 one-year renewals. Those renewals were not subject to the auditor selection process. That's what that last sentence, last paragraph means. It wasn't clear to me, but that's what the research concludes, that that's what it means. So once this contract expires, you must go back out. That's the whole point of the law, is to make sure you're using different
But
CPAs.
it's other cities that have used the same auditor for over 10 years.
They're allowed to do it. There's no restriction on how long you contract, if you originally bid it for, and long-term renewals.
So we can't amend their contract?
Not amend this contract.
I don't know, because I've asked questions and I didn't get this. Vice Mayor, you're next, and then Commissioner Salvino.
That's a little confusing. I mean, and how far are we away from his contract expiring?
4 days.
4 or 5 days?
So 4 or 5 days, and I think we ought to keep him for at least another year, maybe 2, until we get everything ironed out with this language. And because basically we're the city commission, we are the audit committee, and to keep things with continuity, because City Hall is going to be changing many facets in the next 6 months to a year, I think we ought to keep what we have and find a way to do it.
I just so you know, my first reading of this was the way you read it. I then reread it, that once this renewal expires in several days, you must go back out. You do not have a choice. You cannot renew the contract.
Well, what do we do in the meantime?
You don't need anybody until the next audit. You don't have an auditor all the time. You get an audit for the next audit, which
You
doesn't
need
start
the
for
auditor for the next external audit that's conducted.
It's not like something we have to have a contract in place all the time. It can expire, there's a gap period of time, and then you get a new auditor.
I don't think we
Commissioner Salvino?
No, I'm just confused. I don't know. I don't understand that. But what would happen if we kept them on? What would happen?
I think you're violating the law.
think we would what?
That you would be in violation of the statute.
Who would find that?
The auditor people. Anybody has standing to challenge.
What's the worst that can happen? They'd force us to get another auditor and put it up and down.
You could end up with a contract dispute with the renewal of somebody who wants this, and any of the people that want to bid on it. So the state audit researched over my shoulder to make sure I was right.
No.
It has to go back out.
No, I don't know. Commissioner Brandon Marty?
Yeah, so in other words, his contract was written by another commission the way that they wanted it to be. That's why he then was able to get 2 one-year extensions, right? But that commission did not say, and they could have said, let's keep him for 8 years?
In my experience,
Is that it?
Nikki could help me, but I think in all,
Yeah, I wanna know.
in the 20 years I've been here,
Yeah, because
you've
like
never
she
had
said
an
it,
auditor.
she knows somebody
for-
that was there 10 years. So had we written this another way, we would have been able to keep that man. His contract wouldn't have came up now.
You can write an RFP any way you like to write it, but standard practice is most of your RFPs for auditing services are written with a 3-year contract and optional renewals, depending on what the commission feels. Don't be ever written for a 10-year contract. It's not that you can't do it. This particular one, and probably and the one even before that, I think we've done probably 3 of these, maybe since I've been here under former finance directors, have never been written with more than a 5.
But because of
don't
that,
like
you
this.
have to,
I'm not
you
I
have
don't
to
like this.
go out for
Yeah,
bid.
yeah, the renewal is up. This particular firm is on their last renewal. The CAFR is due to be issued tomorrow. We don't need another auditor on board until we start doing the next audit. Field work typically starts in August to September, but it can start as late as October. Our intent was to go ahead and form the audit committee, go out on a competitive bidding process, which is what we normally do through our code and our purchasing policy, and bring forth to the commission a recommendation of the top-ranked firms for you to select, to enter into negotiations with.
I just don't like how this looks. We have you have unrelated issues or items in 7.7 and 7.8, and then 7.9 skips to,
There are 2 separate actions that are required.
I understand that,
by the
but
commission.
usually they're right by each other. This
Well-
is just very confusing. There is no budget requested
It's just
for
a-
7.9 for the RFP, so we don't know
Well, there
how
is
much
no-
it will take.
There is no
in
budget
order-
for 7.9. 7.9, the RFP will dictate the qualifications of the auditing services when they get ranked along with the pricing, and that comes back to the commission as a whole. We won't know what that pricing is until we go out to bid.
And this is going to take months.
We anticipate
what
it'll
it
probably
says.
take us about 60 days.
It says selection process is expected to take several months.
Yeah, it's about a 60-day process. If you were to approve it tonight, then what would happen is we would go out to RFP meetings, bring it back to the commission. Our hope is to have it back to you no later than the last meeting, first to last meeting in June, because we do have to have somebody on, we'd like to have somebody on board before you go on break.
I'm very uncomfortable with everyone new coming on board and all the changes. We have to have someone that is a constant, something or someone. I mean, he was here before I got here. I don't know him. He's not my cousin, nothing like that. But we need to have something. We have to have some stability here in City Hall. We're having a lot of changes. We're doing a lot of different projects. We're doing a lot of things. We have a lot of department changes. And I personally feel from what I'm hearing said once it expires. So I don't know by law. I didn't study law. I won't pretend like I did. But if you're telling me that the worst that can happen is someone else could come and challenge it until we really understand it, and we are all that we don't know, on top of all of these new department heads, it's a lot. This is totally confusing. It seems like it's written in black and white. It seems like it says except provided in subsection 8, which then goes on and said that they could be done without the use of an auditor selection. If you were just going to do the renewal, there wouldn't even be a need for Section 8, in my opinion, because you would just renew the contract. So I'm not understanding why Section 8 is even in here.
Again, respectfully.
Go ahead.
That means that once you had a contract and then you had a renewal, before you exercised the option to renew, that renewal did not require it to go back out for auditor selection committee.
So where in here are all the pages that were in the backup that it says that we have to extend it? No, we can't extend it, or we can't amend it.
That's the meaning of 8. It doesn't look like it says that.
So
but
it's not
that's,
in
That's
here.
the reading of it.
That's what I'm saying. I
But
would
that
rather
would
keep
take
them
a
until
couple months
we.
to do that.
I'd like to just make clear that this is an open competitive process, so there's nothing to prevent the existing auditing firm to competitively RFP with everyone else. So it would be open. Your finance department is still your constant, as far as, because we prepare the CAFR, they just audit the books and audit the information. And any auditor subsequent, should it not be the existing, the prior auditor does release or should be releasing their work papers to any new auditor that might come in. So there would be some continuity in the paperwork and things like that that are.
Commissioner Grace?
I don't like being put in this uncomfortable setting. There should have been something to really guide us in the right direction before we got 3 to 4 days out of this contract being.
This is going to happen whether it's a week ago or whether it's a week from now. The contract from a legal standpoint, and whether the only way you would be able to retain them legally, is my understanding, is if there was another optional renewal in the contract, and there is not. There never was.
Or they're picked under the new process.
Or they're picked under the new process.
Then my motion is going to be very simple, to table this until you receive a ruling from the Attorney General.
Good.
I'll do that.
Whether or not we can still do this, because I think we can, if you got the legal opinion. This to me is not acceptable. It's confusion, not to one of us, but for all of us at this point.
Understood.
And that's going to be my motion.
My discussion on that, and I see you, Vice Mayor, my discussion on that is, if we are tabling it and we get a ruling from the Attorney General who says that we can keep him, his contract is already going to be like some type of a motion that extends it under the answer that we can do that, coming from the Attorney General. They come back and say that we can't do that, then we go back. If they come back and say we can, it's already too late, because his contract is already going to be expired. And once it is expired, then you have to go back through all the other channels. Vice Mayor, and then you.
I agree with you. With what you just said. I'm confused a little bit about it, so until we get some more clarification, I would just like to, can we have some kind of an amended constitution? Amended,
Please.
an amendment to extend his contract until we're all clear on it, even if we seek outside counsel outside the outside counsel.
Again, just to clarify, there's nothing any auditor is going to be doing for a number of months, am I correct? What would they do if they
No,
were?
the financial statements are going to be done, we don't need them till after fiscal year. But
So this
We don't need them
fall.
as part of the budget process? We
No.
don't need them?
No, they're not involved in that at all. They're only involved in it once we close out the financial year end for September 30th, 2018.
Commissioner Brandon Marty?
Yeah. Through the mayor to the city attorney. Tom, is there any way that you can contact the Attorney General's office and let him more or less know that we would like to stay status quo until we get an answer back from him? Or is he going to die before we get an answer?
Again, they're not going to give you a telephone response.
I don't think
There-
so, right?
There's a formal process. I've done it
And
in
what
the past.
length of time are we talking about?
It could take a couple months.
Oh, then that
But
would
again-
be right back where we are now with the 60 days.
Well, again,
But also, I got your legal opinion, and since you represent me, should some question come up with,
Nobody's going to go to jail on that.
that's good, and I don't even want to be talked
You
about.
heard that. Nobody's going to jail, so I make a motion that we extend this contract.
Oh, no way, I'm not.
For how long?
He said you can't do it, I'm not doing
For
it.
2 years.
Oh, no. He says you can't do it, why would you go against it?
Well, there is,
And then he come back and give us the legal opinion. And we have to
well,
go back and redo it.
neither
we'll do
seven,
it.
well,
We know it's not
Okay,
7.6.
okay,
We're going to come
Thank
back
you.
to it.
I understand.
Well, again, if there's support for that, I'm going to have to, which I can do, I can write something that warns the CPA that this will have to be terminated if an adverse ruling comes back from the state.
Exactly.
Right.
That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
Then I'll
Let's
second,
be
I'll
fair.
second Mrs. Grace's motion. Commissioner Grace, Mrs.
Just
Commissioner.
call her Queen Bee.
Mrs. Commissioner Grace.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner
Not
Brantley?
7.6. This is a made-up
Okay.
item.
Read what it's going to say.
Commissioner Grace motioned to table the item until we receive a legal opinion from the Attorney General.
No, that's not the motion.
No.
No?
Nope.
Now you think I'm the
Okay.
dumb one. That's why I want you
Commissioner
to
Grace's
read it.
motion is to extend this contract for 2 years until we get the legal opinion from the Attorney
And
General.
if the legal
That's my
opinion
motion.
says that we have to terminate him, we terminate him right then and there.
Now, I got to ask the city attorney again. You're our legal, on-site, home rule attorney. You're advising me to say yes or no?
He can't.
There's going to be.
Oh, yes, he can.
You can.
I pay him for that.
If I have this opportunity to tell the CPA, if you get an adverse ruling from the Attorney General, your contract is over. You're okay to say yes on that.
Okay, see, I'm smart, ain't I?
I'm
Well,
sorry.
the next,
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna need it now.
All right, Commissioner Brandemart.
Because of the city attorney telling me I could say yes, it's yes, and I'm covering that behind.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Okay. Now what are we going to do at 7.6?
Now 7.6.
You want to? We will.
Well, we already read it.
We postpone it indefinitely.
Yes.
Yes.
7.6 and 7.9. Which
Correct. Both of those will have to be postponed indefinitely.
one? Okay, indefinitely.
I need a motion
have a
and a
motion?
That's my
second.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Now we need 7.7.
Next is 7.7, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, authorizing the city manager to purchase document management software, hardware, and services solution using pricing under the City of Miami invitation to bid ITB 391322 from MCCI, a subsidiary of Municipal Code Corporation, conflicts for the providing for an effective date.
Commissioner Savino?
Yes, thank you. Can you tell me what that's really going to do?
Tell you what?
What it's going to do with the 130?
Yeah, this, originally, we used OptiView, and this company acquired OptiView, and they're not giving it support anymore. So at either the last budget or the one before, the commission budgeted the funds to replace it with this other software program. Nikki, do you want to address specifics
what
of
with
it?
the software, though?
Nikki, do you want to address the specifics of it?
You don't?
the software is, the one that they're looking to acquire is called Laserfish, and it's basically a document management system which handles all of our record archiving in addition to potential to do other online agenda item stuff. And just acquired them. We've had it since like 2005. It's old, it's antiquated. They basically said they weren't going to support it anymore.
Got it.
They've since reluctantly kind of said they would support it, but ever since they've purchased it,
was
it
13
hasn't
years
been
old, I
adequate.
understand now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking for something that's a little more modern and more
Gotcha.
with the times, what we need
Fair enough.
technology-wise.
Okay.
All right, I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I think that's it. Now we have discussion and possible action.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
There is an ordinance, 710.
Oh, sorry.
Is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 2 entitled Administration, Article 6 entitled Marine Advisory Board of the City Code of Ordinances, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, further providing for an effective date. First reading of the ordinance. This is as you're directed to reduce the membership.
Absolutely. Anyone have any discussion on this?
No.
We already
Okay.
voted on it.
Is this a public hearing?
No.
Anyone to speak for or against this?
Make a motion.
Second.
Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the groups that we donated funds to this year returned the donation in the amount of $2,730. The commission actually decides who the donations go to, so we're asking that you decide on this donation to go to another party, another organization.
Right before Commissioner Gray speaks, I just want to clarify why the funding was returned, and it was because they no longer received a matching grant from the CSC, the company involved with it, so they're not going to receive a matching grant, so they're not in charge of it anymore, so thankfully they gave it back to the city. Commissioner Grace?
Yes. As you can remember, after Hurricane Irma, we had a young man that had an event at the Patch where they brought in this big truck with all of the foods and so forth, and he's sitting in the back of the room now, Lamont. And I have to apologize to you because I did not bring my backup material, and I couldn't see it anyway because my eyes are still not focused right now. But if you, I would like, and then we have another organization that actually came back and asked for funding. So Colin has that information. If we can split that $2,750 between the two organizations, I think that would suffice what we need. And if you'll give that information to, Colin, would you raise your hand? Okay, if you'll give it to our assistant city manager, if it's approved by this commission, that we will be able to help you. I saw that big truck that you brought in here. I was not able to attend that event, but I think you had over 1,500 pounds of food, 1,500 pounds of food.
Oh.
You served 1,500 people in the city of Dania Beach at the patch that day, which was amazing. People from Pompano, you had people from Miami, you had people from all over, and we had volunteers from the Kiwanians Club, from the Lions Club, and from the churches and organizations that helped them take it to, especially the elderly cars and so forth, to get that. And so I was very impressed because we have not had that except when we had the Oasis program at Chesterburg Park, where we had the Kiwanians bring in all of that stuff. It was a plus for Dania Beach.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
So if I can make that a motion that we'll divide the funding between those two organizations.
What is
and
the second one about?
Colin, what's the second organization? I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
I'm Donnelly, Assistant City Manager. I apologize for the information being a little bit disjointed because he had the Broward program as a sub-reciprocant. They terminated the contract. So they're the original grantor agency.
Okay.
So that's the Early Learning Coalition.
Okay.
I'll second Commissioner Grace's motion.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
Morris, make sure he gets the information because I don't have anything with me.
The next item is the general budget discussion. City Manager, I'm passing this down.
Thank you, Mayor.
I always feel like
This we do annually. It's sort of the first blush at the budget, and you rarely talk too much about the preliminary budget because we don't have really great figures for you at this point. But one thing in particular that we like to know is on the
Do what? Raise taxes.
do you have any interest in
Nope.
raising property taxes?
Not from me.
And I'm not running.
And certainly not from the two that are running.
Then in terms, I've given you a list of different items that you can anticipate the commission has had interest in doing next fiscal year. If there's anything on there you think I missed, we'll add that on. The Vice Mayor mentioned something to me today that I'd failed to put on there, but
Commissioner Grace?
There are two things that I'm looking at right now. The mayor asked a question to the police chief earlier, how many police officers that
Please get out of my head.
that he was understaffed, and I think he said 8. So I know that we're definitely not going to be able.
Filled.
Okay.
And so
yeah, those have not been filled.
Can you just wait until after November, the end of November, before you fill these positions?
Well, we're trying to actively fill them, but there's just difficulty
I
the
was
way
only
the chief.
kidding, Chickie.
The chief explains it. They have to go to the academy and all that to be put on the street. But this is just a suggestion. You may need some additional officers when Dania Point
Okay.
goes live.
But they don't go online for a while, so we're not.
Yeah, from my
We're not
understanding,
really sure when.
this was something on my radar as well, and that's why I asked the chief that. He has available 8 positions now that are not filled, correct? Okay, so this says add 1 sergeant and 3 additional deputies. We have 8 currently that are not
Vacancies.
filled. And so we will have 11 that are not filled. It's not that they're requesting more, but we already have positions available. I don't think they can take
That's my
senior
next
citizens.
That's discrimination.
Deputies.
They have to take us.
Thank you.
They have to take
You just have to
us.
pass the test.
I can pass the test.
Okay, great. You just said you couldn't. Okay.
I can't.
Wrestles,
I don't have to lift anything, do I? Oh, crap.
So that's one thing that I don't even think should be on there. I was asking about the 25% of the operating budget, and Nikki already answered that for me. The only other thing I wanted, since the branding was on here, I had a question to see if it was going to pass or not, but since it passed, I don't know, we don't really need to discuss that for the budget. And as far as the patch, how much money do we give to the patch?
I'm not actually sure at this point. Do you?
Because it's
have
on
that,
here,
Nikki?
so I didn't think we gave any, but it's on here, so I don't know if that needs to be on the budget either.
No, the
Is that
funding,
in the backup you're reading from?
Oh, the backup. It's a beautiful thing.
This isn't,
But I don't want you to spend time on something that we don't even do in our budget. So if it doesn't come out of our general budget, I don't know what we're gonna discuss on it. But those were it. Everything else I
No,
think could be. What happened?
Can I say something else?
You sure can.
We have a new athletic parks director.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have, in the last month and a half, more children that I've seen at any of our parks
Mm-hmm.
before. Is there anything, city manager, possible that we can get a Parks and Recreation van or two to transfer our children?
We
The
definitely
reason
need
I
that.
said that is because we've been
paying.
you're talking about in the current fiscal year, Commissioner, or
uh,
next fiscal year?
in the budget for this year.
Sure.
At least one, if we
say
can,
two.
because
It would
we've
have to
been
come out of the
paying
res-
attention for our children, especially the ones that have been playing on the weekend. I'm sure you keep adding that up, and the Bears is going to be coming online real soon. You've got the basketball, they got
Softball.
they got flag football now, ladies and gentlemen. And yes,
You
we've been
can use
paying
them
for
too.
that, yes.
What did you ask?
No, what I'm saying is that, I know we're talking about all these things with the children and all. We're paying $65 an hour with a minimum of 4 hours for the seniors.
You can use them
Why
too.
don't you get a city bus?
That's what we're
I've
saying.
already asked for
No,
it.
she said a van.
Oh, well, we can get a bus. Going on. I would rather a bus than a van.
15
How many
passenger?
Oh, no, I need 54.
Oh, you want, okay, well,
Let's get an air conditioned bus.
why don't you just
Yes.
look at some options for us?
Okay.
Because they can transfer our children and our seniors.
Okay.
Because even when we take trips, and
You
when
have to
her
pay
group
for 'em.
take trips, you gotta pay for the buses.
That's why I need a
Okay,
54.
you,
And I'm sure Commissioner Salvino can tell you from his experience with softball and baseball and t-ball, you're going to have way more than 15 kids. You add equipment and all those things. And so if we could find maybe a used bus, I mean, if y'all want to go new, y'all want to do it big, I'm all for it. But, we don't really want to.
We'll bring back options.
I don't know who sells them, but I do know we desperately need them. We need them because they come with drivers. They come with, what's going to happen? Who's going to drive the bus?
Bus driver.
no, you,
I'm not, listen, I'm going to drive straight into, I can't handle that.
My bus.
Who can drive it?
Pat can drive my
But
bus.
if we
He has
had,
license.
vans, let's go back to it. If we honestly had at least started off with some vans for parks and recreation.
Or a bus.
Or a bus, or we
Chicky,
can
or a
look
bus.
into, or we can have vans and a bus.
Okay.
We can look into the,
Question.
go ahead.
Kelly's Bus Yard, are there also used buses there, Bob?
I really don't know.
No laughing, guys.
We also discussed with more active children's programming that we increase security in the parks. And
Absolutely,
maybe
absolutely.
A park ranger program we
Touche.
put in.
Yeah, we definitely need park rangers. But you're talking about security. Are these park rangers going to be armed?
Typically, park rangers aren't armed.
no, they don't
Okay.
know.
So are they going to call the police?
Well, I mean,
It's a question. No, I
That's
think we need
typically
park
what they
rangers.
do, is they call
Okay,
the deputy.
okay. No, I'm all for having park rangers, especially, we need to, and in the future, I know that we need to look into locking up our parks in our in our playgrounds and our facilities, as well as opening back up. And my major concern was having a shower inside of the restrooms on the beach. We definitely need a park ranger to be able to maintain and keep an eye out on that, because I'm very, let me leave it on that, no one's gonna say anything else, okay?
Okay,
Well, just
thank
think
you.
about that.
So will that give you some direction, City Manager?
Yes,
as
ma'am, that's
where
what
we're going?
we're looking for. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, commission comments. Commissioner Brandon Marty?
Yes, just want a special thank you out there to Three's Company Palos of Dania Beach for hosting a Wounded Warriors dinner this weekend, past weekend. Went there, Commissioner Grace was there, and so was Commissioner Salvino. That's all.
Commissioner Grace?
Ditto, I was really enlightened about this family, the Winters family, and the commitment that they have for our veterans and our wounded warriors. Over 150 of his residents, his families that have served in different pact, so that they can have funding, so that they can sponsor some of the programs, you know, for housing, for medical, for whatever they need. And I think that organizations like this, we really need to support a lot more. And I think that I would definitely be going back when they have something else. It was a very busy weekend for me, and I don't want to bore you with it, because if I start talking, we'll be here till 10 o'clock. But I know that you want to go home. But one thing I do want to share with you is that the Ebenezer Deliverance Church honored me as Woman of the Year on Saturday, and then, thank you.
Oh, we have 2 Women of the Year, huh?
Thank you. And then on Sunday at First Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, I was honored again as Woman of the Year. So I guess I'm the woman, okay?
You're the mom.
I got to tell you, it was just, it was fantastic a lot of things have happened to me over the years that have been very positive, but this was a very emotional time, because I think that I have not done everything right, but I have done the things that I thought was right for the residents of the city of Dania Beach who elected me to this office. And evidently, it was shared by all of those people, because at both events, we had over 300 people that showed up. So I think that spoke for itself. And I just want to thank them for it. And I want to thank all of you for being at both of those events. And I was at the Meadowbrook on Saturday for the health fair. Another 150 people were at that. So things are really happening in the city of Dania Beach, and we have a lot of unity. Thank you so much. Happy Easter.
Commissioner Salvino?
Thank you. I was going to talk about the Wounded Warriors that both of them did, but I can tell you, sitting with Commissioner Greason, added extra food. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
And we paid for it, too.
Yeah, you did. You paid
All
it.
right.
I did attend Commissioner Grace's honor at the church. It was nice to see so many people in there honor her for her accomplishments, and it was. I just had a good time. Thank you. Thank you. And I went to. I don't know if anybody has been to Gangrel's Wrestling with Craig over here, Craig Valentine, but I have to tell you something. It's something interesting. I just want to share a minute about that, because, you know, when you watch wrestling on TV and so on, it is a practiced event, and
it's real.
It's real. But I mean, I can tell you, I was sitting up right in the front ringing the bell, and I have to tell you, when those bodies hit the mat, they hit the mat and they hit it hard, and it's pretty crazy. And then they had the girls match up there, which was even crazier, because they were ripping each other's hair out and so on. But we're in the city through the athletic director, and work with him and maybe do something at Frost Park at night or something. We can move the ring over there and have a free event. He'll get some sponsors and so on, if we can work that out, Craig. Yeah, it's all right with the city as well. Last but not least, I have a challenge for the mayor. I think that
You're not wrestling her.
No, I think that we should have a nice fundraiser and pick a nice charity, and the mayor should play one-on-one with anybody to 11 points and raise some funds for any kind
I
of
ain't playing for free no more. You guys are
any
over.
any kind of an organization that she chooses to donate to. But I think that it would be fun to watch the mayor out there and use some of her talents.
What happens
that
if
she
somebody
was,
gets serious? Because
I
retaliate.
I'll
I play
challenge
retaliation basketball.
I'm good. I'll
You
challenge
hit me, I mean
Mayor.
you back.
I'm good.
Anyhow, I'm done. I just thought I'd
I
bring
can't
that up.
jump.
That's what I mean.
As long as, well, we can play a 5-on-5. That'll be all of us getting out there as a TEAM. Oh, y'all can, do your thing. Vice Mayor?
Just a couple of things regarding the League of Cities, the Broward League of Cities. I told you about the publication. Anyone can get one. There's no dates on this because they intend to use this for the next 3 to 4 years. So, and then also with the Broward MPO, there's a transportation challenge coming up on April the 18th for all the cities in Broward to try to address the demands of everyone or the concerns of everyone concerning the traffic all over Broward County. And then coming up soon sometime, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but there's a challenge with the Florida Department of Transportation regarding the improvements on US 1 from the county line all the way up to Broward Boulevard. So I'll be going to that as well. I can get you any information. If you have any concerns about what your personal concerns are about traffic, you can email me, and I'll try to bring them up on the 18th to the MPO. Thank you.
Well?
Vegan.
Count me out.
That's Tommy. She'll do it.
That's no.
Gotta have my fried chicken. Sorry.
Okay.
How about a 9-minute vegan?
You don't want to be a vegan, Commissioner Brandon Marty? Health is wealth.
A vegan.
A vegan.
I don't even know what it is.
I'll do a 1 meal maybe.
What? How about one meal?
1 meal with meat?
Just
Without-
give me the Italian food and forget the rest.
For one meal, like a breakfast or lunch, you know. That's all.
Eggplant parmesan.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Do what you want to do.
Too.
Okay, I have a few issues. The reason why I'm very concerned about Parks and Recreation is because I've come to find out that we have 2 employees that were hired but never received a call, and I know that both time employees
Oh, that's right.
at Parks and Recreation who were hired but never got the call a month ago. And I know that they're short-staffed at both parks because I frequent them. And I don't know what are we going to do with the summer camp. I know that as a commission, we agreed to extend the summer camp. Summer is approaching, and this is the time where I believe that they're about to start registrations for the summer. And parents need to know what we are doing, and there hasn't, to my knowledge, been anything finalized or even discussed about what's going to happen in the summer camp. You can come up since it's at Frost Park.
Mayor, you're talking about the lunches too, right?
Yes.
The free lunch.
We can ask about that as
Hi,
well.
Raphael, Cross Park.
Hi.
Right now, we have flyers out. I'm looking at the verbiage for the flyer, but April 14th will be the first registration date. Right now, it's still.
Who's working on that? Don't know.
You don't know?
This is why I'm telling you we need a parks director.
So.
You gotta get the
Does
food.
Mark know?
Right now, all I've been told is it's still an 8-week program. School is starting sooner this year, August
Right.
15th.
Yes, it is.
Which means there'll be 1 week of no camp prior to school. But that also means a lot of our staff who are teachers will have to go back to work too. So if we were to have an extra week, it would be staff run, but we don't have the resources of staff either to.
Because we're
for a
short-staffed,
week, 'cause
right?
We are short-staffed,
Okay. Who's working on that?
all of us.
What about the lunch program?
What about the lunch program? Is that at CW Thomas?
That's everywhere, all the
That's
parks,
everywhere?
yeah. And,
So are we still going to be able to do that?
When I haven't heard any changes in that.
Okay. Okay. So this is very important, and this is why we need someone to be able to make these. Is your child going to go? I would not put my child was in this summer camp last year, and I was very surprised to him have 2 weeks of no summer camp, and I have a job. And what are parents going to do? Mostly every other summer camp, they go until the end. And so I want us to really look at the people who are putting their money into our programs and sending our kids here and make sure that we have their best interests at heart. And if we need more staff, which we have two staff members that we haven't even hired yet. These are a lot of issues that are going on in Parks and Recreation that really need to be addressed and that are not being addressed as we speak. And that is, you know, these are cracks that we are slipping through, and this is going to be a reflection on us as
We
leaders.
need to make sure we cover it for the 10.
So Raphael, we're going to handle all
So
these
it'll be
things,
9
right?
weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a 9 week, that's not a 10 week, it'd be 9 weeks.
But
this year.
they've not even started discussion on it because.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Thank you. This is something that is very.
You know, next year, we better start these plans on this program earlier.
Well, that would be the director.
I have to check with Mark and see what he's done as well, so.
Okay, and I also want to. Is Brad here? No, Brad's not here. Are you here for Brad? Could you come out, please? Sorry. You're like, Brad, you never miss another meeting. You hear me? Never miss another meeting.
Stay home.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, it's okay. I want to know what work Public Works does for our field maintenance on both of the fields at Frost Park and C.W. Thomas, and if you do any at P.J. Milley.
We do the regular maintenance.
For like the field, though. Well, let me just get to my point. I want to know why we are paying another agency to do work on our fields when we have Public Works to do that.
Who would that?
Call Brad. Look, she's like, I'm calling Brad. You can't answer that? Okay. So
There's-
that's something I should ask Brad.
Yeah, we can get the answer, but I don't know for sure what you're talking about.
I'm talking about we are paying an agency, a temp agency,
You're talking about
money
the,
to come and do field work on Frost Park field.
Well, Mayor?
Yes?
I know that, I know that on Frost Park, to answer some of your question, is that Tim Cates is actually contracted to do field maintenance on the basic part of the park itself. And I'm not sure if your question means are we cutting the grass or are they cutting the grass?
What's being cut is-
But Tim Cates is does the work at Frost Park. But when there's a scheduled game, whoever's having the games, whether it's a girls softball or boys baseball or t-ball, they'll give the schedule to the Park and Recreation Director or Raphael or whoever's with park it is. Then the Public Works goes in that day and drags the fields.
Okay, so.
That's just during the season.
I guess my next question would be the scope of work that he's doing, Public Works can't do?
Scope of work, who's doing?
Whoever you just said.
Well, Tim Cates works for the city of Dania Beach.
He's our employee?
Yes. He's a part-time employee.
He's not our employee. Nikki?
Oh, no, that's right. He's outsourced because I don't know why they did it that way, but he is an outsourced person that does, they hired through the outsource agency.
I don't understand why we're paying an
Well, the
outside
fields weren't
agency
getting proper
$24,000 a year.
How much?
$24,000 a year for something that Public Works could do.
Well, I don't know what they're paying him, but I can tell you that field was in horrible shape till that man took over. And Public Works could never keep up with it for 4 years before that, and I don't know why there's even a question on what's going on, because that field is immaculate over there.
Because all the fields aren't immaculate, that's why.
Pardon me?
I mean, if Tim Cates, that's his name, is going to do Frost Park, he needs to do all the parks.
Well, he's a part-time employee.
I understand exactly what you're saying. No.
Well, he was.
No, for an agency.
I believe he was engaged to do the baseball fields, softball fields, because that's his area of expertise, is my recollection.
What is it you're looking to get?
I want to know why we are paying an agency $24,000 to do the work that Public Works can do. That's
If he
very
was in
simple
theory,
and
you'd have
very
to hire an
clear.
employee for $24,000 to do the work.
We have employees that. Do you know if we have employees that are capable of doing two fields?
At the level that, if it's working for an athletic, most of our workers, they do work, but not at that high tier, high level of work.
Were they in bad shape?
Yeah.
The fields.
So we have two fields, and you're telling me we don't have enough employees to manage two fields, maintenance two fields?
We've got.
I mean, we have
Frost Park.
Frost Park and C.W. Thomas. That's the only fields that have any sport activity. that I know of.
They don't have any sports activities.
I know we-
Pat Millie except the swimming.
They're about to start baseball.
They got baseball?
I know they have a baseball field. They don't have a baseball program. We have a program? Go ahead.
It's not ours.
It's not ours? Thank you. So, I'm gonna get with Brad because
I'll speak with him.
Okay, I'll speak with, maybe I'll speak with the city manager so he can speak with him or whatever. But I want somebody to specialize in all the other sports as well. I want equal attention to all of our sports. That was just my own thing.
Mayor, I don't know if there's been at least 2 budgets where the commission has considered redoing those ball fields
Mhm.
completely, and we've never had the money to do that, so it's never been done.
Right. Oh, I didn't see on
completely
here
redo
turfing the fields on the budget. Could you add that? That was the item that
Yes,
I didn't
will.
see.
And that's an artificial turf, I think
Yeah.
we were looking at.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Savini, is your light on?
I thought maybe Raphael could come up and explain to you what's going on at Frost Park with that particular thing. I know you're looking for equal field maintenance, but you were there when the fields were in rough shape, and maybe just explain what else he does over there, and
Tim
whether or
Cates.
not, if he wasn't there, we'd have to hire somebody to do the same job, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tim Cates manicures just Frost Park
Mhm.
field, usually
Mhm.
field, whatever fields we need whenever we have an event. But, field, what?
You saw our public works crew maintains
Yep.
PJ Millie?
Yeah.
Oh, so they can this is my point. They can maintain PJ Millie, but they can't maintain Frost Park.
Yeah, well, that contract was done before I was here.
No, I'm not blaming
Yeah.
you. Don't worry about it. I'm not blaming you. This
Yeah.
is my point, my whole point. Okay, thank you. I'll get with Public Works to see. Yes, to answer your question, he's only for one field. And I don't know where we are with the Parks RFP or what the process is. I know it's going to end up coming back to the commission. I would.
It comes back at the next meeting. There've
Okay,
been
that was
two,
my, okay.
They've had 2 meetings. And
Okay, awesome. And the last thing of my concerns, I think we need to establish some type of protocol for our public restrooms here. We have people, I've spoken to Mr. Willie, who is very concerned and upset at times. We have people here that are wiping their, and
Well-
there are a lot of diseases going around, and we have to have some type of protocol, a sign in, keep a lock, come get the key from, security or something that we can
I
track
agree with you.
how we are allowing our restrooms to be used. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I walked in here today and he was spraying air freshener and stuff for like 30 minutes, and I can't imagine having
The
to go in there
security
and clean
guard
that.
actually chased the person out of the building and told them
He
they
chased
cannot
them?
come back in.
Did he catch him?
He told the man that he cannot come back into City Hall. He actually really messed up the bathroom.
Right. I want to make sure we
it
protect
was
our employees.
as bad as, used to be worse when we had the back door unlocked, so we started locking it because people would come in there every day, they'd find them in the restroom. But we'll make sure the security guard takes closer, look at that and see who's coming in.
Okay. You want to stay there, Commissioner Brandon-Marty?
No, you're good. Go for it.
I don't want to stay there. I'm not going to stay there. I was saying that they have continued to express how upset they have been in the process of getting their TCO, and then I was given some paperwork, doing a little digging that they explained to me, and maybe Mark could answer that the Morrison was able to open with 52 open inspections, and 7 out of 8 of them, not including 7 out of 8 paving inspections, and I don't know, it's too much of the paperwork, but you get what I mean.
Yes, Mark LaFerrier, Community Development. I'd have to look and analyze.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay, so I can come and meet with you, but
I'm sure we did.
Did not, okay. Okay, and other than that, there is a new daycare open on Northwest 5th Avenue. Is that Northwest 5th Avenue?
Are they open?
I think they said they were going to open on the 26th, which means they opened yesterday.
Okay.
Brand new learning center, daycare, and I wish you all a happy Easter. And I will now turn it over to our appointments. And I want to say that one of the Housing Authority board members passed away, Ms. Marita Mitchell, and I want to send my condolences to her family.
Yes,
I'm
me
very
too.
sad, and
Yes.
and so I will be attending her funeral
On
on Thursday and reading a proclamation from the city, and so I just wanted to express my condolences to her family. Now, the appointments of the Broward League of Cities 2018-19 director appointments. Commissioner Salvino, is your light on?
Yeah, just,
Okay, go
I
ahead.
just wanted, but I didn't know, I thought we were
Just happy. Don't be so happy. You're gonna miss us.
We're gonna miss her.
You're not okay. Don't answer that, but we're gonna miss you too. I want to thank you for all of your years of service and your dedication, and all of us who have nagged you, and you've keeping a hold of us in our schedule OIG and everything that our requirements that we've had to have. I know no one really keeps up with it until I get a reminder from you, and so it's a thankless job. But I want to thank you. I know
Thank you.
You served many others far longer than you served me, but I'm very satisfied with what I've had with you.
We have a replacement?
You're asking, there was one applicant, and that applicant will be interviewed this week and then appointed this week.
What's the name?
It would be the deputy clerk.
Good
Tom.
choice.
So it's a
Very
promotion.
Good.
Good.
Good choice.
Good promotion.
Yes, good choice.
That's providing we can come to terms on.
Well, I'm sure,
sure
we'll
you
work
will.
something out. He's not going to work for peanuts. We'll work it out.
We do.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we
and then,
do.
go ahead. Oh, not you. The Broward League of Cities 2018-19 director appointments. We need a director. I am not available.
I appoint Bill Harris.
Me too. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. We need an alternate. I appoint Commissioner Salvino.
No,
Yes,
sorry, I
second.
can't do it.
No, you're not going
You
to
need
do
an
it?
alternate?
Yes. Yes.
Bill will never fail.